My name is Megan, and I'm 56 years old. I'm a housewife who occasionally helps out at my daughter Anna's clothing company. My husband Ryan, 58, also manages his own business. Our daughter Anna, 25, has been a daddy's girl since infancy, heavily influenced by her father to start and run her own clothing company with a friend from university. Ryan and Anna share such a close bond that their conversations about work can go on for hours, leaving me on the sidelines. Anna married Stephen, 3 years older, 2 years ago. Despite my reservations when they rushed into marriage after dating for a year, Anna was moved by Stephen's eagerness to become part of our family. Anna values her family deeply, and Stephen's commitment to being a part of our lives touched her profoundly, making her happy to marry him. Witnessing her joy, we happily gave them our blessing, but soon realized our mistake. We discussed with Anna and Stephen and decided to renovate the second floor of our house into a dual residence to accommodate both households, perhaps overly indulgent for our only child. 2 years into their marriage, I noticed Anna seemed less vibrant and had lost weight. "Anna, you don't seem well, and you've lost weight," I remarked concernedly. She brushed it off, attributing it to a diet similar to how she had once fretted about gaining weight right after the wedding. Satisfied with her explanation, I reassured her, "You're not fat, eat well, and take care of yourself." "Thank you, Mom. I'm sorry for worrying you," she replied with her usual smile as she headed to work, waving goodbye. Her cheerful response eased my concerns, but an hour later, I received a call from the hospital informing me that Anna had been injured and was undergoing surgery. I immediately called Ryan, who rushed over from his nearby office, and together we hurried to the hospital. When I arrived, Anna was already in surgery. When I asked my husband about what had happened to Anna, he told me, apparently, she fell from the top of the stairs of the station. The diagnosis is a compression fracture of the lumbar vertebrae and a spinal cord injury. She might end up bedridden. Tears welled up in my eyes as I processed the news. "I regret letting her go to work this morning," I cried. This morning, Anna looked so thin and lacked energy. Maybe she was really struggling. If only I had stopped her from going to work, this wouldn't have happened. "There's no point in regretting now. Let's pray that the surgery goes well," my husband replied softly. "Okay," I said, beginning to pray. Then my husband said, "I'll call Stephen," and stepped outside the hospital. When he returned, his expression was one of fury. "What's wrong?" I asked. Apparently, Stephen responded to my news with, "Oh really? Well, I'm going on a vacation abroad then. Take care," my husband recounted angrily. When I informed him that Anna might be bedridden due to a severe spinal cord injury, he laughed it off, saying, "Well, my being here won't change anything, will it?" before hanging up. Just then, Anna's business partner and best friend, Amy, rushed to the hospital. Amy, too, looked furious. "It seems Stephen called me," she said. He mentioned Anna's surgery for a spinal cord injury and casually added, "Oh, and she might not be able to work after that. I'm going on a trip abroad, so let me know how Anna's doing." Amy continued, her anger evident. When I questioned him, asking why he was laughing and planning a trip while Anna was in such a serious condition, he callously replied, "It's my first time abroad in a while, so of course I'm happy. Do you think Anna will get better if I go to the hospital? Her mother is there, so she'll be fine," before hanging up. Amy was upset not only by Stephen's indifferent attitude towards Anna, but also shared more distressing news. "Ryan and Megan, please calm down and listen," she said gravely. "It appears Stephen might be dating our part-time worker. She's taken a week off starting today, possibly to go on that trip abroad with him." The revelation sunk us further into despair. When I asked if Stephen was cheating on Anna, it turned out Anna had been confiding in Amy about her suspicions for some time. Apparently, the part-time worker had developed feelings for Stephen when he came to pick up Anna from work. She pursued him, succeeded, and even boasted about it to other part-time workers. When one of them informed Anna, she began to worry deeply. It's possible Anna's distress over this contributed to her fall down the stairs. "I don't think I can ever forgive Stephen," I cried, overwhelmed with emotion. Trying to calm me down, my husband asked, "What are you planning to do? Are you going to confront him without any evidence?" Amy quietly intervened, saying, "There might be evidence." Anna hired a private investigator. She handed me a business card from her case. I placed the card in my wallet, then sat down on the sofa outside the operating room. praying fervently for Anna's safety. When the surgery light turned off, signaling that it was in progress, the tense silence between us three was palpable. A few minutes later, a nurse led us to a consultation room. The surgeon explained that Anna's operation had gone well because it was performed promptly, and her injuries were not severe. With diligent rehabilitation, there was a good chance she could regain her normal life. However, there was also a possibility of lingering numbness in her hands and feet. Grateful for the successful surgery, we thanked the medical team and briefly visited Anna in the ICU before deciding to head home. Amy chose not to answer when Stephen. The next day, someone who was likely calling to check on Anna's condition reached out. When we arrived at the hospital, Anna had awakened in the ICU. Though she couldn't speak, tears streamed down her face as she looked at us. In my heart, I made a vow to Anna. I will take my revenge on that man to the very end. When the doctor informed us that Anna would be moved to a hospital room the following day, my husband insisted, "I'd like her to have a private room, please. Money isn't an issue." His concern and compassion for Anna were evident, and we bid her farewell with the promise to see her the next day, then headed to the private investigator's office. Amy was already there, having just received the results. "Stephen is not just guilty, he's absolutely guilty," she began, pulling out documents to explain. "And there's something even more shocking." She showed us numerous pictures of Stephen and a woman named Amelia together, arm in arm, as well as a photo of them entering a travel agency. It turns out Amelia had told a coworker at her part-time job about going on a trip abroad with Stephen. Amy explained, showing us a photo of their flight tickets bearing both their names. This could be crucial evidence. "We'll keep this as evidence of Stephen's infidelity," the investigator confirmed, advising us to consult a lawyer, which we plan to do later. On the way home, my husband was visibly furious, driving aggressively to drop off Amy before returning. Once home, he grabbed the house deed, declaring angrily, "I don't need this house. I'll sell it. No, I'll demolish it. If this house didn't exist, I wouldn't have to live with that man. I don't need this house." When it came to our daughter, he couldn't contain his emotions. I, too, couldn't bear to live under the same roof as such a man. Reluctantly, I agreed with my husband, though it felt like a waste. Immediately, my husband called the company that had done the renovation. "I truly appreciated the effort you put into building this house," he began, expressing his regret. However, we decided not to demolish it. "I have a daughter as well, so I understand," the company representative reassured him. "Don't worry about it. Let's demolish it right away. When your son-in-law returns and finds the house gone, it will surely shock him," they suggested, and we promptly took action. My husband was driven by his determination for revenge. He skipped going to his own company, focusing instead on arranging our move, finding a new place, visiting the lawyer, and making regular visits to the hospital. Thanks to the support from many people, we successfully completed the move and the demolition of the house. All of Stephen's belongings were taken by his parents when we handed them over, along with evidence of Stephen's infidelity, how he had joyfully gone on a trip with his mistress while our daughter was in the ICU. We explained that we couldn't continue living together. Stephen's parents were deeply apologetic and pleaded with us not to let Anna and Stephen divorce. However, when my husband asked them, "Would you say the same if it were Stephen's sister in my daughter's place?" they fell silent, unable to argue. Both the news of Anna's accident and Stephen's infidelity were shocking revelations to Stephen's parents. After loading their son's belongings into their car, they bowed their heads and implored us, "Please, we beg you not to let them divorce. We'll talk to our son and ask him to change his ways." Seeing our lack of response, they seemed to give up, their shoulders dropping as they left. Later, at our new home, we visited our daughter's hospital room. Despite her frail condition, Anna had started speaking, her determination evident. I began the conversation as I showed Anna the materials from the private investigation agency. "Why did you stay silent knowing about Stephen's infidelity?" I asked her. "I felt I needed to gather evidence before confronting him with divorce in mind," she replied. "Stephen is the type who would dodge and run if confronted about cheating." "Wouldn't you confront Stephen?" she asked me. But then, I realized I wouldn't obtain any evidence. It was clear she had resolved to divorce him. "If only you had asked me not to confront him, I would have endured it. It hurts to think you were worrying about this all by yourself," my husband said, his face showing signs of tears as he held Anna's hand. Then he recounted how he had demolished the house, arranged our move, met with Stephen's parents and explained the situation before they picked up his belongings. Maybe my father-in-law is anxious thinking your company will stop doing business with them, he added. Dad, Mom, I'm sorry. Even though you renovated our home for me, I can't forgive him for choosing his mistress over me and my situation. I want to divorce him, Anna expressed firmly. All right, we'll tell the lawyer exactly that. Mom and I both support your decision to get a divorce, my husband assured her. Our next house will be a spacious high-rise condo, and your room will be just as large, he promised, gently patting our daughter's head. Finally, Anna managed to smile through her tears. When the hospital staff realized we were there, a doctor came to explain Anna's condition and the prognosis. Since the surgery was performed promptly, she should be able to return to her normal life after rehabilitation, the doctor informed us. While there's a slight possibility of numbness in her hand, it's unlikely, he added. Thank you so much, doctor. That's a relief, isn't it, Anna? You don't need to worry anymore while walking, I reassured her. Anna stunned us with her revelation. I didn't fall down the stairs because I was lost in thought. Someone pushed me. Shocked, we questioned her repeatedly, each time met with her firm insistence that she was telling the truth, her eyes serious. She described catching a glimpse of the culprit, a woman with blonde hair, but couldn't recall her face, only the sensation of being pushed with both hands. Upon hearing this, the doctor said, "It's my duty to report this to the police for investigation." We agreed to let him handle it, seeing how tired Anna looked. We promptly shared the new development with our lawyer after concluding our call. Shortly after Stephen called, I heard from my father, "I'm coming home now. There seems to be a misunderstanding. Let's discuss it. If we clear things up, Anna and I won't need a divorce," he said, laughing as he spoke. "I'm glad I answered the phone," I muttered after hanging up. Later that evening, Stephen called again. This time Ryan answered. "The house is gone. What about my belongings? Going this far over a misunderstanding is ridiculous and utterly foolish. Where are you living now?" Stephen demanded. "Didn't your parents tell you? They took your belongings home," Ryan replied calmly. "What misunderstanding? We have evidence from the investigation agency," Ryan retorted, his tone mocking. Stephen grew frantic at the mention of evidence. "We're just friends. There's no romantic relationship. If we clear up this misunderstanding, tell me where you live. My father told me not to return until this is resolved, so Anna and I can avoid divorce," he pleaded desperately. Ryan's single word, "impossible," caused Stephen to lose his temper. "You really broke into my house and removed my belongings, didn't you? I'll sue you for trespassing. If you don't want that, tell me your address. Are you ready to lose me, the one married into your family and your only current heir?" Stephen ranted. Amid Stephen's tirade, a woman's voice could be heard from his phone saying, "Enough already. Just break up. You couldn't even have a child with your wife." Hearing this, my husband hurriedly asked, "What about a child?" The call abruptly ended, leaving us puzzled, as we hadn't heard from the hospital doctor that Anna was pregnant. Though concerned about that revelation, we were more frustrated than angry at the thought of Stephen still being involved with that woman. The next day, after visiting our daughter in the hospital, my husband returned to work for the first time in a while. Around noon, Amy arrived at our house accompanied by another woman. The woman with Amy was Emma, a part-timer hired around the same time as Amelia, Stephen's mistress. Emma appeared visibly irritated by how Amelia treated her under the guise of friendship. For instance, whenever Emma went to buy lunch, Amelia would follow and place her own items on the counter, expecting Emma to pay. Despite Emma's complaints, Amelia brushed it off, claiming they were friends. Even at work, Amelia was known to slack off most of the time and leave promptly, avoiding overtime work. When Emma confronted her, Amelia justified her behavior by saying, "We're friends, so you should support my love life," causing further distress for Emma. Amy explained that Emma had come to consult with her about these issues and had some crucial information to share with us. When asked, Emma showed us messages on her smartphone that shocked us to the core. The screenshots revealed flirtatious conversations between Stephen and Amelia, along with incriminating photos of them together. What stunned us the most was Amelia's confession. She admitted to pushing Anna down the stairs. Her motive was chillingly clear. Stephen had allegedly told Amelia that Anna might be pregnant due to a late period. Believing that Anna's pregnancy could bring Stephen back to her, Amelia decided to act. She was pleased that her plan succeeded. leading to Anna's hospitalization and cancellation of the trip. Emma spoke with conviction. I can't forgive her for trying to steal the CEO's husband and causing such chaos for her own convenience. It's horrifying, so I consulted with our vice CEO, Amy. We were taken aback by Amelia's audacity in sending evidence of the affair to Emma, but relieved to have her confession. I voiced my concern. I haven't heard anything about Anna's miscarriage from the doctor. She's not pregnant, Emma clarified. She's been stressed, which caused her irregular periods because of Stephen. Upon hearing this, my husband and I sighed in relief. So she wasn't pregnant after all. Armed with screenshots of Amelia's confession and pictures of her and Stephen together, my husband consulted a lawyer. The lawyer advised us to file a police report. The next day, we submitted printed screenshots as evidence. Throughout this, Stephen continued to call us daily, making veiled threats like, "I'll sue you for trespassing, and you'll be in trouble if I don't become the heir." Each time, we hung up without responding. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived. Following our lawyer's instructions, we summoned Stephen and Amelia to a conference room at my husband's company. "Come with your friend. We want to discuss this misunderstanding," my husband stated firmly. Stephen responded, "Okay, but when you realize it's a misunderstanding, you owe me and my friend an apology. And you'll compensate my parents too." Seeing him, I regretted more than ever letting my daughter marry him. We waited in the conference room with our lawyer. Stephen and Amelia arrived half an hour late. Spotting our lawyer, they seemed surprised and awkwardly laughed. "Why did you bring a lawyer? Let's just talk as a family." Following our lawyer's instruction, we asked them to take their seats. Stephen and Amelia sat down, visibly agitated. First of all, Stephen began, "Amelia is just a friend. I have no romantic feelings for her," Stephen insisted, while Amelia nodded beside him. Our lawyer pressed further, showing them a picture of Stephen with another woman named Emily, his arm around her. Amelia's expression shifted to anger. "Wait a minute, are you saying you have another woman? What's your relationship with her? Weren't you going to marry me once you took over the company?" she shouted at Stephen. Stephen attempted to calm her. "I don't know this woman, she's just a friend. Please calm down." But Amelia's fury only grew. "You told me your wife was pregnant, so I had to take drastic steps for our future," she accused, as Stephen repeated pleas for calm. Our lawyer interjected, "Emily has already admitted her relationship with Stephen. She's returned home and cut off contact with him." Upon hearing this, Stephen faltered. He covered his mouth, his face turning pale. Turning to Amelia, our lawyer continued, "We have enough evidence of your relationship with Stephen, as well as evidence of the crime you confessed to committing against Anna." Amelia, now frantic, stood up. "I admit to the affair, but Stephen pressured me into the staircase incident because his wife was suspicious and we couldn't go on vacation. He said she was pregnant. I apologize, I'll pay compensation, I'll end things with Stephen. Just don't involve the police," she pleaded, tears streaming down her face. Stephen erupted, "I never told you to do anything like that. You've ruined everything. It's over between us. You deserve to be arrested." Our lawyer addressed Stephen firmly. "We will proceed with filing for divorce between you and Anna and seek compensation. If you contest, we'll see you in court." Stephen initially resisted, but upon mention of court, he relented. Under our lawyer's guidance, he signed the divorce papers, fearing the repercussions on his career and public reputation. He agreed to pay $56,000 in compensation, a substantial sum considering Anna's temporary inability to work as CEO during her recovery. Amelia was later arrested, and she promptly paid the compensation by selling her parents' house and land. Rumors of Stephen's infidelity and involvement in Anna's injuries spread at his workplace, stalling his career advancement. His father's company, tied to ours, lost business and eventually went bankrupt. Disowned by his father, Stephen resigned from his job and scraped together the compensation money through severance pay and loans. There were rumors of Stephen collecting aluminum cans to make ends meet, a stark contrast to his previous life. A year later, Anna returned to work after intensive rehabilitation, focusing on her health and career. "I don't need a boyfriend for a while," she declared, emphasizing her dedication. Emma, who had assisted us, joined Anna and Amy as a regular employee at their company. My husband continued working vigorously, driven by his motto, "Active for life," determined not to be outdone by our daughter's thriving business. In the end, the saga of revenge came at a high cost, but we remained resolved to support our daughter's company with all our efforts.